Hey there, B-Siders. Welcome to another episode of Bravo for the B-Side. This is Danny.
And this is Jim.
And I promised a banger, did I not?
Did you promise that last one or the one before? Last one.
Last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of things go on in between, and sometimes I lose track of time.
It's a banger.
But it is a banger.
Yeah.
So, well done.
Thank you. A little bit of news. So I read a lot, and so I put this on as news. The Fourth Wing series, otherwise known as the Empyrean series by Rebecca Yarros, is being adapted into a show coming to Prime Video.
Interesting.
It is interesting.
Very cool.
That one, if, listeners haven't read it, it has been described as kind of like Top Gun, but with dragons.
Okay.
I enjoyed the series. My friends enjoy it.
Sure.
It's a best-selling series, and so I'm kind of excited to see where they go with it.
Well, maybe they can do what House of Dragons could not, which is be interesting.
Right.
I've never been so fucking bored with the series. Well, we've talked about it. Complete waste of Matt Smith.
Yeah.
Other talents, and just could not have cared less.
Right.
And certainly not enough dragons.
Oh, this has got a lot of dragons.
Well, hopefully.
Well, yeah, hopefully.
You would think a House of Dragons would have dragons aplenty, but
well,
no.
Not so. And today, the 12th of May, is a big day for a couple of reasons. First, it is the opening day of the Cannes Film Festival.
Yeah.
Honestly, all these film festivals, the big ones,
Yeah.
Cannes and Sundance and North by Northwest and yada yada. I used to pay a lot of attention to them, and now I just don't as much anymore, because the films that go to those festivals are not the kind of films that we cover typically, even though they are independent.
No. And so on that.
Yeah.
So we were talking earlier, because I was ruminating on how I would like to see Hollywood get put into a box or something, like a challenge or some sort of project or something, where for the next couple of years, I don't know how this would be doing, but it would be forbidden for them to make a movie that cost more than $5 million. And I say that because we've seen so many of these high dollar films that have shit story, right? We are so reliant on CGI and effects and the fantastic shit that we lose everything. Like most of the Marvel movies, they started out because they didn't have tons of cash, because hero films had traditionally failed hard up until Iron Man. They were forced to work with practical. They were forced to actually have a fucking story, because it's like, well, we're going to blow up. No. The budget says you can blow up a car and a shed. We're not blowing up a skyscraper. You don't have money for modelers, can't do miniatures, and CGI is out of the question. So make it work. Like the movie we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And a lot of the movies we talk about, because they're Indian B movies, they don't have huge budgets. The more money you throw at a film, the less interesting it becomes when it's like an action thing. So for Mother's Day, took you to go see Project Hail Mary. And I know you love the book, and I heard all about it. And I was excited to see it too. And I was always, I'm a little about adaptations and things. Well done. Loved it. I mean, had a great time. Midge liked it.
It was a lot more. I've read about the making of it. There was so much practical. I mean, they built the whole.
Yeah. You could tell
there
because
was very little CGI in there.
90% of this movie is physical interaction. And this is Ryan Gosling pulled a Robert Redford, right? Where we had Redford just on the fucking boat by himself in the ocean dealing with problems, right?
Well, he had Rocky, the puppet.
He had Rocky, yeah. But as far as the main character, it was just really him. Then there's flashbacks and stuff. But he had to carry it.
Yeah.
Right? Gollum was fascinating, but Gollum's not going to carry a whole movie,
Right.
right? Um, so, CGI and stuff and with the puppeteering, it's all great. But more than that, it hit me in a lot of levels
It
because
was very human.
it was very human. And also the science was not like wildly made up. And,
Right.
it's like, oh, we're going to do this to accommodate the story. No, they built the story around what we know. And the fiction part of the science fiction
Hmm.
was the problem.
Right. The astrophage.
Yeah. And, a couple other things that I'm not going to, give stuff away, but it was rooted.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy that because that tells me this author worked within the constraints of fact
Hmm.
and saved the fiction for a very minimalistic expansion for the story.
Right.
And I love that. But we were talking about things like Dune, right? Um, all I hear about the Dune movies is how Dennis, he's all over the place,
Oh,
and
the vision.
the vision, the visual, the visual, the visual. And like we were talking about it, Ansel Adams captured beautiful vistas and stuff, and
Yeah.
he didn't need a fucking computer to do it. So if a guy, a black and white photographer back at the turn of the last century, what you know what is so fantastic about hiring a bunch of people to create this backdrop? And visually, yes, and what they did, their work is fine. I
Hmm.
mean, that's I can't do it, not going to pretend. But where's the story? Those movies were so fucking slow moving, and they're slower than the book, and that to me is like a red flag. So how he got 3 paychecks for this, I don't know. But anyway, going back to, I would like to see some movies made where it's story based and it's not about how fucked up can we make the chases, because we watched another one um, with Tom Hardy in it,
Oh, Havoc.
Havoc. Jesus Christ, what and Tom Hardy, love him, did great, but the movie itself suffered heavily
Yeah.
from bad CGI, and
Oh, I know.
to the point where physics were like, fuck it, we don't understand math, so we're just going to make it
Right.
happen. You know, oh my god. But anyway, I would challenge any of these big time folks who haven't come up, like Spielberg and Lucas started with like dimes in their pocket,
Hmm.
right? And made shit work. I mean, Spielberg will always be legendary for having one of the greatest films of all time that was on the shoulders of a complete, almost failed production.
Yeah.
Everything fucking went wrong, but he made it happen. And Lucas, if it weren't for his girlfriend at the time, who later became his wife, um, nobody would have gone to see Star Wars. All of his big time director friend, well, they weren't all big time then, but you know, everyone's looking at it like, I don't get it, man. This thing's a fucking mess. And this lady comes in and is like, give me that. Cut, 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 cut. And we talked about the importance of editing
Oh, yeah.
in the last episode. She understood it and she gave us what we know as Star Wars,
Yeah.
right? So there's a lot of important stuff, but when you have a lack of money, you're forced to work on the story. You're forced to work on the script, character development. You're forced to push your actors into the role and not just sort of, phone it in, which is a lot of what goes on,
Yeah.
you know. Um, so anyway, with those kinds of films, those are the ones that made it to the festivals. So that would go to Cannes and would go to, the Tribeca and all these. And we would be like, ooh,
Yeah.
what do we got? What do we have? But now these are people with millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? Productions of like $50 million, and they already have a written agreement
Oh, yeah.
that we're going to go to the festival, and if it kicks off, then you can distribute and everyone gets millions more,
Yeah. I
right?
mean, they have deals in place before they even actually go to the festival.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of horseshit. It's like it's the same thing as my big bitch with allowing professional athletes into the Olympics. The Olympics are
Right.
supposed to be for the fucking guy who can't make it to the NFL, plays a sport that there is no real like big thing. Leave it for these people who are true athletes. They're not getting much money, if any. They dedicate their lives to this thing. And the goal is to get to the Olympics so they can hopefully stand on that podium with one of those medals.
Yeah.
You know, that's the beauty of it. Now it's like, oh, well, we've got, the Olympic basketball team where 19 of 20 are, professional NBA players. Why is that? It's like well, we got now 15 films we're going to really hit at the film festival. Every fucking one of those is multi-million dollar backed venture.
Yeah.
I want to see Kevin Smith movies.
Yeah.
I want to see that kind of thing. I want to see Clerks. I want to see just,
Space Trucker Bruce.
yeah, I want to see people who've gone so fucking broke, right? Dude, I mean, we know the stories. I've talked about like Meteor Man with Robert Townsend and all these things where people maxed out their credit cards, took money out of their fucking house. Some people lost their marriage because they were so dedicated to what they were doing, and it paid off. Not billionaire status for all of them, but a dream realized. And that is what this is all about. And yeah, you don't, I mean, I didn't even know it was opening day,
Oh,
because I just don't care.
and they are at con. They're giving Pete Jackson, I can't remember the name of the award, but it's like one of the big con awards today for something related to Lord of the Rings. I didn't look that deeply into it, but I was like, I don't understand why. I mean, yeah, like Peter Jackson did a great job on Lord of the Rings, but that was, 20 years ago, and it wasn't an independent film, but I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
there's a reason.
Yeah, I don't know. But I mean, that's
I'm not harshing on it.
No, but there's a good example. Peter Jackson, right? One of the first things we did on this podcast was cover bad taste.
Yeah.
Numero uno,
Mm-hmm.
right? And to see him go from that to Lord of the Rings to The Hobbit and to all the other stuff that he's done, that is the journey.
Yeah.
Right. But I don't want to see Pete Jackson submitting anything to a festival because he's already there. Right?
Yeah. And I don't think he did submit anything to it.
No. Yeah.
But I think he has done a lot of like support for the con festival.
And they should.
Yeah.
Every single person in Hollywood at every level who has a mansion, at least just one, but 3 or 4, they should be just wholesale funneling money to these things and to organizations and stuff that help aspiring filmmakers get to where they go. Places that I just saw a place opened up in LA where you can rent shit for film shooting, everything from fucking gloves for your grips to cables, all kinds of shit. No, that's absolutely fucking brilliant. There's probably more than one.
I certainly hope so.
Well, I haven't been to LA looking for that shit, but that's where we need to be. We have gone past the romantic era of filmmaking, and now it's like you're just struggler, and it's cute, and look at that. Or you're over here, you've made it, and now you're submitting your shit to film festivals because you're quote independent because you had enough money to pull off a $75 million production, and you just didn't want to listen to somebody at the studio.
Yeah.
But you went to the studio and said, hey, can you get this out there?
Yeah.
If I get one fucking vote at the festival, yeah. So anyway, that was very long-winded. I apologize, but
you got some news?
I got some news, which makes me angrier. So David Koepp, who adapted the novel Jurassic Park for film, has been put in charge of a reboot of the movie Westworld, the original starring Yul Brynner, legendary classic movie. One of those that just like stepped into something we hadn't done in sci-fi yet.
Sure.
Right. Overall, not super fantastic, Anyway, I just put that in here because that's why I wanted the whole fucking, let's make a movie for $5 million and let's make Hollywood force them to do it for like 2 years. Because the last thing we need is another goddamn reboot. It's like nobody can think of anything good. The good stuff's coming from the small stuff, and the small stuff's hard to find. You don't get to see it, doesn't get enough praise. And the big stuff that gets our attention, with the exception of Project Hail Mary and a couple others, just huge disappointments.
Right.
But anyway, no release date. That's just been like greenlit. So who the hell
Mm-hmm.
knows? It could be 2 years before they actually like have a script that everyone agrees on. You know how it works.
Yeah. Well,
What?
speaking of release days, I just want to add another little
I
nugget
knew
here
you
because there was
would.
2 reasons that today was special. First is that Con starts today. Second one, um, if you have never read the Dungeon Crawler Carl series, you should. It's great. It's silly and funny, and it has a lot of heart, and it's nerdy, and it's just like everything good kind of rolled up into one. Anywho, today is the release day for book 8, A Parade of Horribles. And I can't tell you how many pages I am into it because it's probably more than you would think.
So you started this morning.
Yeah.
With it on your Kindle app.
Yeah.
Because the physical book hadn't arrived yet.
Right. I do have the physical one now.
Yeah. And you're gonna zip through that pretty quick.
Yeah. Well, so according to my Kindle here, it is I'm on page 290 of it's a long book, 766 pages.
Yeah. It's an inhuman speed at which you read.
I'm a human.
Now, when it comes to books,
I do read very fast.
You do. It's ridiculous. So that's why I hate tandem reading with you.
I hate tandem reading with you too because you read so slow.
Oh my God. Anyway, should we talk about a movie now?
Yeah. Tell us about this movie.
We have a movie from 2017 called The Hero. This movie was directed by Brett Haley, written by Brett Haley and Mark Bash, starring Sam Elliott, Laura Prepon, Kyrsten Ritter, Nick Offerman. Do I need to say anything more?
It's a great cast.
We could just stop right now and everyone can surmise this was
It's good.
Good and everything was great. Anyway, it did actually have a rating, rated R. 1.2 million estimated budget. The log line, you could have spent some of that money on hiring someone who does log lines because this was short and sweet. Are we ready?
Yeah.
An ailing movie star comes to terms with his past and mortality.
I don't know. I mean, that does kind of.
Yeah, and
What would you do?
I'm all for brevity.
Yeah.
But I mean, honestly, if I were sitting at a desk and this is one of the things that slid across my face during the day, I would have put it in the nope pile because nothing about what I just read hooks.
Right. Sounds enticing.
Yeah. I don't know. You could have added like maybe 6 or 7 more words, comma separate and everything. It super simplifies. So we've talked about log lines that have been bad and some that are like verbose and way off target. I think this one goes the other way where, the only thing that I think would conquer this in terms of how bad a log line could be was a log line that reads a movie. So that's what we've got.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're going to talk about.
Should we dive in?
All right. Why don't you bring us in?
We're on a beach. We've got waves rolling in. And then we are with Sam Elliott in a recording booth. And he's doing like a voice commercial for a barbecue sauce. And it's the voice, right? It's Sam Elliott's voice.
Yeah.
He keeps reading the line. They keep telling him one more, but without giving him any like real direction. It's kind of a nothing thing. He's clearly kind of annoyed about it. And then he's driving through town. His phone rings. It is his agent, Peter. So Sam Elliott's character is named Lee. And there's a Western Movie Guild that wants to give Lee a Lifetime Achievement Award. And Lee is not very into this award situation. He's more looking for like a job offer, a script, a movie.
A part, yeah.
Yeah, something. But his agent doesn't really have anything for him.
No.
So then later we see him lighting a joint. He seems terribly bored, alone, kind of sad. You know, the ailing, you know. So then he's meeting with his doctor, and his doctor lets him know that the biopsy didn't yield good news.
Right.
And that's kind of all we get from that. And we see him on the beach again. And then there's a lot more of him just like being alone, smoking, drinking, watching TV. It's very sad, very, you know,
Yeah.
mellow, slow kind of. And then we see he's looking up pancreatic cancer survival rates,
Yes.
which are not great.
No. None of the numbers are good.
No. And then he's gonna call somebody, and I notice he only has like 8 contacts in his phone.
I thought it was like 6. Yeah.
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 It's not many.
That's it.
I know I go into my phone, I've got like 500 contacts in there, but
Yeah, I know.
um
But this particular one was Lucy.
yeah, so he dialed that number. Um and then we see him kind of looking through old movies. We get the sense that call didn't really connect.
Yeah, I just put it as, he's dialing Lucy on his phone, but then he's not.
Yeah.
Changed his mind.
And he pulls it off of a shelf, and it's him in an old Western. It's like a VHS.
Yeah.
Called The Hero. And then we see him, Lee, as the hero, dressed as a cowboy, walking around some scrub. And then he sees someone hanging from a tree. We only see the feet.
Right.
But then he's waking up.
Yeah. Well, when he's in that garb, he's him now.
Right. It's not the younger version of
Yes.
him.
Yeah. Yeah. I made it a point because when I first wrote that out, that makes it sound like we're looking into the movie. But
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then he's looking around the house for something. Stash, I think. He ends up
Shit.
knocking on a door, and Nick Offerman comes to the door.
Yep.
A neighbor or a friend of his. And then Nick's character, who I never get his name, so I just call him Nick.
And I also did not get his name, and I just call him Offerman's character.
Okay.
Just before we go on, we talked about it.
Mm-hmm.
We could have looked it up in the credits. We did not. And folks, I can promise you, nobody says his name.
We looked it up on IMDb later, and I think it said his name was like Jerome or something.
That's right. Yeah,
but I
mystery,
call him Nick.
Mystery.
Yeah. So Nick invites him in for some weed. And then they're kind of, sitting, chatting, smoking, and Nick asks if he's okay, and then Lee says he got some news, and we think he's gonna talk about his diagnosis. But he says he's gonna make a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So they chat for a while. Lee asks to buy an ounce, and Nick makes this face like, I don't know why you didn't just go to the store like everyone else. They talk about the name of the weed, which is like platinum cookies.
Yeah.
And, he makes the comment that Lee's voice could sell a shitload of weed.
Yeah.
And he gives him some shrooms, he says, in case of emergency. And then I think Lee was eating the shrooms shortly after that.
No.
He was eating something.
No, he was just snacking.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I want to go back quick.
Okay.
I didn't write the whole thing down, but there was this brilliant exchange between the two of them because Lee was going to tell him about that dream.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, yeah.
Offerman's character is like, oh, let me just stop you right there. I'm not I'm not interested in people's dreams. And they kind of go back and forth. And he's like, but it's your dream. It's about you. There's nothing I can do with it. I don't want to psychoanalyze it. And it really doesn't do anything for me. And I got, more important things to do. And he's, holding a joint. So, but then Lee asks him, well, you like movies? And he goes, yes. He says, well, movies are other people's dreams. I don't know, but I thought that was really good.
Mm-hmm.
So I got that in there.
So later, Nick is asleep on the couch next to him. Lee's snacking. Someone knocks at the door. It is a woman named Charlotte, who Nick introduces to Lee. And Charlotte is a badass looking woman.
Mm-hmm.
She's got, like black pants, leather coat. She's got the very thin, like drawn on eyebrows,
Yes.
from like the early aughts.
Yeah. I would call her a very modern LA woman,
Sure.
meaning she's not like super goth. She's not like,
No.
all this kind of stuff. She's approaching middle age, you can tell.
Yeah.
Um, but she walks in through that door and is just the character is just so sure of herself,
Yeah.
right? No excuses, no explanations, no
Just the
time for
confidence.
yeah, just, I'm fucking alive and that's all you need to know,
Hmm.
right?
So Lee's staring at her and she's, like, what's your deal? So he says you can figure out a lot about a person by looking at them. And then they banter a little bit. She kind of vaguely recognizes him as an actor.
Yeah, do I know you?
Yeah. And then she tells him that he seems sad. Um, and then Nick comes back out and, says that they were on this old TV show together and yada yada. So then later we're at a studio, looks like an art gallery, maybe.
Yeah, I when he goes into a building, it's a studio, it looks like photography because there was cameras and lights set up
Right.
in the corner. Possibly some kind of studio.
Right. So Lee is there. He's meeting this woman, Val, who I think is his ex. They have this sort of, and they talk about Lucy.
I presumed it,
Yeah.
you know.
Who Val's been in touch with Lucy recently. She tells him to call her, because he's asking her how she's doing, yada, yada, yada. Um, and she's like, you call her, you know. So we get the sense that this Val's his ex, Lucy's his daughter. He doesn't have a great relationship with them.
No, because he does say,
She doesn't want to
she
hear from
hasn't,
me.
yeah, she hasn't heard from me in a long time. She doesn't want me to call.
Yeah. So he tells Val that he's going to make a movie. And then he is later calling his agent asking where this award is.
Yeah. He does he does begin to tell her he's got cancer.
Right.
That very slow,
It's
troubled,
like he tries.
and then he just stops, and you can just see in his head he regroups. And he's like, "I'm going to make a movie,"
Yeah.
kind of cut thing.
Yeah. And I really like he does a really good job, Sam Elliott, of this, complex character
Yes.
and showing the emotions that we know are underneath because we get the context, right, of all his thoughts leading up to stuff.
Yeah.
Um so then later he's visiting Lucy at a tennis court. And their conversation's pretty strained. He's way behind on her life.
Yeah.
Um, and he asked her to come to the awards ceremony with him. So this is his you know, asking for an olive branch, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And he isn't giving her much notice because it's on Sunday.
Right.
And she's like, "Well, I have plans," you know. And then he alts to, "Well, how about dinner?" You know. And she tells him they can have dinner on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So then later we see him rolling another joint. He gets a call from the doctor's office about his treatment plan, and he is very non-committal about it. He says, "I'll call you back."
Yeah, I'm in the middle of something. I'll call you back.
Mm-hmm. So we see then the hero version of Lee, right? The cowboy version, walking into a camper. And it's really interesting, this camper. It's full of pictures and stuff. It made me think is this, actors on sets, they have their own trailers. Sometimes they'll bring their own trailers and campers and stuff.
Well,
right.
It was an old 60s,
Yeah.
early 70s style trailer. Very much what they used.
Yeah.
And on the door was a big piece of tape that had the hero
Yeah.
written on it. So, yeah, I thought that's what it was.
So that's probably his trailer.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's old, well worn inside. You know, there's like pictures everywhere. There's paper. He's going through all this paperwork.
Tax returns.
Yeah,
And then all of a sudden,
they're redacted.
yeah, it's all redacted, just pages of big black blocks.
Yeah.
Like, what? That's a weird
Yeah.
thing to focus on. Taxes be the last fucking thing.
And then we could hear the ocean. And he opens the door and you can see the like LA skyline.
Yeah.
Um and then he's at a taco truck.
Yeah, so he's at a food truck. He steps back after he gets his stuff and he's eating. He sees Charlotte come to the truck. She sees him, smiles at him. They chat. He asks her why she said that he was sad. And she basically just says, she doesn't know. And she asks if he is. He doesn't say anything. Um, and she says, there's nothing wrong with that. Then she asks if he's married. So we know he's divorced and it's been for a long time. Then she asks him if he's going to ask her for her number.
Mm-hmm.
And he asks if she's doing anything on Sunday night. And next thing you know, we're in a limo.
Yeah.
On Sunday night. They're drinking champagne on their way to this awards banquet. And she pulls out some capsules, breaks one into her drink. And she's, like, huh? He's like, oh, I'm good. And sits for a second and is like, give me that stuff.
Yeah.
So she empties one into his and he just downs the whole fucking glass. So then she is talking about a poem. And he's just looking at her as
Yeah.
she's talking about this poem. It was the fig, or I'm sorry, not the fig, first fig. And I loved that bit.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff we're not going to address because it's silence,
Mm-hmm.
but there's things that go on in the silence that is just really, I mean, this is acting at superior level by everybody in this film. And yeah, this was Sam Elliott telling a story without barely fucking moving and not making a sound.
Yeah.
But you see it.
Yeah, it is him at like his best.
Yeah. And this is what I'm talking about. This is one of the old guard, right? Yeah. He's got a lifetime of this and it doesn't get old. It doesn't get worn out. It doesn't get less. It's just more. Every time you see him in something, there's just even still more.
Right.
It's just fucking wild. Anyway, so and then when she's done talking about it, he just says that if she were 20 years older, he'd think about kissing her. And I didn't get to write it down, but she makes a comment, well, 20 years, I'm not going to fucking wait that long.
Yeah. They're flirty.
All that time. Yeah. And he is the quintessential Western movie star. He is what we've seen Sam Elliott play in a lot of things. Yeah. Where Lee is the manly man. He's very quiet. He's very introspective. He's very withdrawn in social situations, right? But the chemistry between the two of them is just,
it's really good.
It pops. It's really, really good. So anyway, she brushes it off. There's more chatting. And he ends up telling her that he did one film that he was proud of, but it was 40 years ago. And that is The Hero. And then he says, it's strange that he's being remembered for one part after all these years.
Well, yeah, he said he stayed busy, but he doesn't feel like he was achieving.
Right. What's the achievement here? And this is where I noted the chemistry between the two actors is fantastic because you can't fake that shit.
No.
Right. You can do a good job, but this was like poppity pop pop. So we're inside the event. Lee asks, when is the fairy powder going to kick in? And she's like, soon enough. So then this guy, the guy in charge comes in. And this is where I lost a little bit because I was just kind of like stymied.
Oh,
So the actor who plays the leader of the festival played Sergeant Wojciechowicz in the show Barney Miller back from the 70s that I grew up with.
yeah.
And I know this is 2017, so it's like 9 years ago, but, and this sounds morbid, but I was not expecting to see him alive because I hadn't seen him for a while before 2017.
Right.
Right. But I love this guy. So I was kind of just like, ah.
Yeah. This awards ceremony, as soon as they go in, it reads a little more like a family reunion and a little less like a big,
Yeah,
professional awards. This is a little dinky thing at a little like DoubleTree.
I was going to say, it's just big enough to not fit at the local VFW.
Right.
So they had to rent a room like the one that they rented out for the
Yeah.
comic book show at the
Right.
one.
And then Charlotte immediately assumes like fake Southern accent.
Oh, I know.
Calls herself Kathy Lee.
She's like, "Hi, I'm Kathy Lee." And Lee is just looking at her like, what the fuck? But he rolls with it.
Mm-hmm.
So they're walking, and then he bumps into a woman who's clearly a fan. Her name is Betsy, saying, he can bump into her anytime. She asks for an autograph, comments on his mustache. He kisses her on the cheek. And Charlotte is just watching this, just smiling.
Yeah.
Just watching him interact with this. And then we have some shots. It's photo op time of him, getting in front of the backdrop of the name of the festival. Then Charlotte gets in on it.
Oh, yeah.
So they're taking pictures, or they're having pictures taken together. And then there's just lots of shots of them doing more different photos, having drinks, flirting, laughing, him signing stuff, talking with fans, and her
It's the
just
fun night montage.
Yeah, and she's not the character of Charlotte is not just sitting back while this shit happens, right? She's not a tertiary thing. She is, and you can see it, and that's, again, this is what filmmaking is about. Is every time they cut to her, you can see the story on her face and what she's seeing and how she's perceiving it and analyzing it. She's having a good time.
Yeah.
With all of it. And then it all starts to settle. They're sitting, guy up there is making the speech, the intro, and they watch a clip from the hero and stuff as they're going to call him up. And Lee is just sitting there, no more smiles. He's looking.
He looks like he's sobered up a bit.
Well, he's looking very thoughtful, like the reality of he's, got, cancer at a high level. We haven't actually heard the words like terminal or anything like that, but it's not good.
Right.
Right. And the numbers pointed it out. So then he's called up for the award. And they do the clip after he's called up. Like, okay, Lee but first, and while that's happening, he even gets like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then he starts looking frustrated, very thoughtful, sorrowful. And Charlotte's just kind of like looking at him and back and forth between the clip and him. So he gets up to the podium and he starts talking about how awards are a strange thing. What do they say about you? And he says he looked up achievement in the dictionary on the way over. And he says the result of hard work. And he says that he certainly worked hard. The thing is, he knows there are a lot of others out there that are more deserving of this kind of award than he is. It's a lifetime achievement award.
Yeah.
He's not just sure he deserves any of it. And the body of it is he gives a very touching speech. At the end, he says, everyone in that room is as deserving of this award as he is. As part of his speech was talking about, everyone has a life.
Yeah.
Everyone achieves something over their lifetime and work towards it. And he doesn't mean like in terms of big success. He's just talking about the fact that you get up and you live and you go to sleep and you keep doing it.
Yeah.
That's, why doesn't that get an award? That's where he's going with it. So he ends up calling up this random woman. Her name is Diane. And he says that she is his Western Lifetime Achievement Award winner.
Yeah, and he gives the
Yeah,
award to
yep,
her.
she's his hero, and gives her the award and gets everybody to chant her name.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, everything's rising and vibing, and then we cut to an open field, and there's an old tent. Lee, in Western gear again,
Yeah, his hero persona.
yeah, is coming out of it, and we hear a voice says, "Hold it right there, friend." And then some guy comes up and says, "We've been looking for you," and they're there to collect on all of the bounties on the hero. Asks if Lee thought he could run or could outrun them forever. Says you can't outrun destiny. Um, Says they call him the hero, but they know who he really is.
Right.
So Lee pulls a gun, points it, and then we hear, and that's a cut. Everybody take 5. So then he goes to sit in a director's chair, but the director's chair is at the tennis court where he saw Lucy.
Yeah.
And then Lucy walks up, asks, "How was the procedure?" And he says, "I'm not going anywhere." Um, this dude has some very strange things going on
Yeah.
upstairs. And so he wakes up in bed, looks over, and Charlotte is sleeping next to him. So we see him in the kitchen pouring coffee. Charlotte comes in. He asks her if they had sex. She says no. Molly isn't usually good for that kind of thing.
Right.
Like, what? He said, don't worry about it. But then she proceeds to tell him that they went out after the ceremony and he has no recollection.
Bars, a club.
Bars,
he
a club.
danced a lot.
Yeah, she's like, you danced a lot.
Yeah.
And then he asks her how old she is. And she asks, how old is he? He's 71. And she won't tell him.
Right.
So then he's like, you look like you could be my daughter's age. And this whole thing's starting to get a little bitter.
Yeah.
And Charlotte's like, well, how old is your daughter? He's like, 34. She said, well, I'm older than that.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it's a tense conversation. Just really kind of, it very much felt like, even aside from everything going on with him, just that kind of person inside where any little good thing,
yeah,
it's like I immediately find a way to shit on it and turn it into a bad thing. Because I can't have it. I can't have a good thing.
Yeah. And she's
Right?
just like, why are you being weird?
Yeah. She's just sort of deflecting it, but she's not giving in.
Right.
Right. And she's giving back. They end up kissing. Finally, what it comes down to is she asks, so what do you want? And he's like, I don't know. And then they end up kissing after she says, well, she's there because she wants to be.
Yeah.
There's no shit or anything. And he tells her, I don't want you to go. So they end up sleeping together. And then afterwards, they're getting dressed. Lee can't find his phone. Charlotte looks at her phone, and it seems that his speech has gone viral.
Yeah.
On Twitter. She's like, it's on TMZ, it's on this, it's all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
She says that they really need to find his phone. He says he's not sure he wants to know about any of this. Maybe they should forget about his phone. Later, they're on the beach, and rocky part of it, he asks, don't you have a job you have to go to?
What do you do?
And then she asks, so you want to get to know me? And he's like, yeah. So she reveals that she's a comedian. She does stand up. She hands him a rock, and it looked like one of those that had the little fossils in it.
Yeah.
You find on a beach, and asks if he wants to come to her show that night. And Lee says he'll let her know. Then asks if she's going to tell him how old she is, and she laughs.
So then later, he's watching the speech with Nick on Nick's laptop. And Nick is saying, oh, this is a good thing. 2 million views in 12 hours. Nick's background on his laptop is that like iceberg success.
Yeah.
Thing.
The whole meme poster thing.
Yeah. And so Lee asked him about it, so they explain that. And then Peter is calling Lee, his agent. The phone apparently has not stopped ringing for Pete all day. He's got offers, scripts, commercial work, a movie thing. The character's like this ultimate cowboy. They want him to come in and audition. He's like, I haven't auditioned in,
40 fucking years.
right. And I noted here that I believe this conflicts with his daughter dinner date.
Right.
But he decides to do it anyway. He gets the pages faxed over to him.
Mm-hmm.
And Nick makes fun of him about it. So then Lee's kind of going over the pages. Nick is with him, but isn't really sure what to do. So he's kind of doing that like stretching out thing. And Nick Offerman is so fucking funny.
He is.
With physical comedy.
His passive-aggressive physical
interruptions.
And he's, high as a fucking kite.
Right. So Lee gets irritated with him and Nick asks if he wants to run lines. And then they do. And Lee gives this like very good monologue, right? As they're running lines together.
Yeah.
And it's a little bit, you can tell that he connects with this role, because it's got similar kind of like father-daughter issues that he identifies with. It's good. He does good.
It really is. Before that, one thing I noted was while he was annoying him with his stretches, he's like, I thought you were making a movie anyway, man. And Lee looks at him and says, no, that was just a fucking pipe dream. He holds up the script. This is real.
Right.
Which is an important moment.
Yeah.
Because we know he's been out of it and stuff, but I love that bit.
Yeah. He's like, I'm back, that kind of thing. So then that night he's at the comedy show and Charlotte goes up. She starts making jokes about dating an older guy. And it's the kind of thing you would expect to hear at a comedy show, but definitely not the kind of thing that he expected to hear from his situationship.
No.
At a comedy show that she invited him to.
That is the last thing you expect to hear as you walk into a comedy store is basically you.
Yeah.
That's the subject matter.
He's totally not cool about it. He walks out and she sees. And when she sees that, you can see in her face that she's like, fuck.
Well, she drops her act.
Yeah.
She just stands there for like 5 solid seconds silent, just till she regroups.
Yeah. And then she changes her jokes.
Yeah. And it phased her.
Yeah. So then we see Lee at home. He's looking up that procedure, the survival rate, the scar, like the whole situation's not looking great.
The Whipple procedure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's not able to sleep. He's looking over the script. He goes to the audition and it doesn't go very well.
Right.
Like several things go wrong. They ask him if he needs sides. He's like, no, I've got this. And then he starts missing lines. And then he's like, oh, yeah, I'll take those sides. And then he gets pretty emotional.
Yeah. Way more than when he was reading with Offerman. And it's done in a way that, because what he did, that was brilliant. That's why like Offerman's like, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know what else to say. But this was like the seams started to burst.
Yeah.
And it wasn't him performing. It was his shit coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he walks out of the audition. There's one paparazzi outside.
Well, I called it a YouTuber because that wasn't paparazzi. That was just one of those.
There's a dude outside with a camera. And Lee snaps at this guy and ends up driving off. And then he's drinking like a lot.
Going full tilt on dope and booze.
He looks at the mushrooms. He takes those.
The whole thing.
Yeah. And then he's out communing with nature, as one does. And then while he's outside, Lucy is calling him on his phone.
Yeah.
And he's not answering. We see her at the restaurant. He's obviously not there. He's fucked this pretty good.
She's looking really disappointed. And so, like, the waiter's taking, like, the place setting away.
Yeah.
Because it was a table for two. And you can just, and there's no conversation or nothing. There's just his, like, fucked up, whatever's going on in his head. But Lucy's played by Kyrsten Ritter, and she does so good.
Oh yeah.
With facial acting as
Yeah.
well. You could just see. To me, I wrote it down. Is you could see that she was clearly excited, and what we're seeing is the fall down as
Of of course.
Her anticipated and feared disappointment.
I should have known.
Had come true.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it hit harder than it, like, figured he wouldn't come, but more like really wanted that to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, I was like, yeah, not feeling a lot of sympathy for him in this moment. And then in the morning, he sees that he missed her calls. She doesn't answer when he tries to call back. He sends her a couple of, apologetic texts. And then while he is cleaning, and this is where he's like, this scene of him cleaning.
Yeah, this was really well done.
Yeah.
He's, brushing all the dope off the table and putting shit away and vacuuming, and just like, it's a nonverbal.
Yeah.
All right, enough.
While he's cleaning, we see that Charlotte has sent him several texts. And the gist of the messages, it's a little fast to read all of them, but like I do read fast. And so the gist of them is like, she's like, I'm coming over, we need to talk, blah, blah, blah. I don't care if you're not answering. I'm going to come over and talk to you. So she gets there and she explains that her set was, like he didn't let her know he was coming, but also she was trying to make sense to herself of what they were doing. And that was her way of kind of like working through it.
Right. But she did invite him.
Yeah.
And just because he didn't call her or text her back and say, hey, yeah, I'm actually going to make it. That I actually, I think we're on like slightly different sides of the fence of this, because I just wrote that she's basically going on about how what she was doing is basically her job. And it's just this whole thing is just a super weak argument. She's got nowhere to stand.
So she didn't mean to hurt him, she says, and she does like him. She apologizes. And then he responds by telling her about his cancer diagnosis and that he's dying.
Mm-hmm. So then it's later. They're laying in bed. Charlotte says cancer isn't the death sentence that it used to be. Lee says that he has one of the very worst kinds. She asks about treatment. He's silent. Then he says there is a procedure, but it's not a cure, but it would give him maybe a few more years, like 5 or 6 more years. Then he says he doesn't know if it's worth it buying time. And she gets really stern. Yeah. And she's like, you're dying. It is all about buying time.
And she's not wrong.
She isn't. And we're going to get into that. And then she asks him what his family says, and then he admits that he hasn't told anyone but her. She's really, it goes back and forth, but she really, this last couple minutes is her just, you need to tell your family and you need to get that procedure. And she makes him promise before it's done. So later they're in bed again. Charlotte has a gift for Lee. It's a book.
Yeah, she says it was her ruse.
It's the complete works of Edna St. Vincent Millay. And that was the originator of the poem.
Yeah.
And, she really loves this woman's poetry. So then we're outside. Lee's in his truck. He's trying to call Lucy. He leaves a message apologizing. Please call me back. Needs to talk to her and has something that he wants to tell her. Then we cut to night, and he's at the art gallery studio place. He's talking to Val and tells her he really fucked up with Lucy. Uh, Says he has something he wants to tell her. And I love when they do this.
I wrote a note about this too.
Because what happens is we cut to the outside of the building and we're looking into the windows, and all we hear is just the sounds of traffic and shit. But the body language is saying it all. Again, we have two actors who know their shit.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because we're surmising he's telling her about cancer and she's like, ah, silent film style overreacting, right?
Yeah.
No, it was really good. Really, really good. So they end up hugging. So now we're mourning. Or now we're not mourning. Now it is morning. And Lee wakes up to his phone buzzing. And then we cut to the beach. He and Lucy are there. She asks, how sick is he? And he says, pretty bad. She asks if he was ever going to tell her and how long he's known. He just stays silent. And then she says she doesn't know why he goes so far out of his way to be so difficult. And then she unloads on him.
Oh, yeah.
Hard, right? No sympathy.
She's furious.
Yeah, no sympathy for the devil on this one. Oh, man. And she is justified, right? After he asks her, God, what happened? My thing just jumped. Technical problems. Quit. That's weird. Okay. Good radio, huh?
Oh,
yeah. He asks her to give him a chance to write another chapter. I love that bit too. It's a pretty heavy scene from herein, but in the end, we're left with like this positive feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And then we cut to Lee in his Western clothes. There is some tense music. We're back to the hanging man. He hears footsteps behind him, turns and draws his gun, points it, stares, and then we cut to what he's looking at. It's ocean waves.
Mm-hmm.
Suddenly he's at the beach, but now he's himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking out into the water. Then we have this cool effect of the waves in reverse.
Yeah.
Right? And the next morning, he's calling his doctor to make the appointment to discuss his treatment plan and the surgery. As he's on hold, we hear this like whole symphony playing, and he's just looking
Pure
around.
Against Suite number 1.
Yeah.
Morgan Stimmet.
But it's perfect because we're using that hold music, and that's the background to him looking. He's got this beautiful place on the edge of the city. So he's just looking at this beautiful countryside, the rising sun. And then suddenly the music stops, like bing, mid note, and I don't know if it's the nurse or the secretary or what, but it's just like, so we got it. It's just like right back to reality. So then later he's with Offerman's character, and he's talking about, or Offerman's talking about an old show that they were on, and just this stuff. I was that was the whole point of my character dying, was the whole purpose of this and this. Later we're at Lee's. Charlotte is sitting outside on her laptop, doing some stuff. It's his birthday, and she gives him the poetry book.
Yeah.
She's wrapped it. And she tells him she found it under his bed.
Did you ever read it?
Yeah, did you ever read it? Because I found it under your bed.
Yeah.
So she tells him to sit down and reads him a poem from it. And he is deeply involved as she's reading.
Yeah.
It's kind of he's looking at her with even more inner intensity than when he was looking at her in the limo.
Like love and wonder.
Kind of. I mean, just yeah, because when she read the poem in the limo, that was her, right? That's not,
Yeah.
oh yeah, I've had 5 boyfriends and this, not that kind of namby-pamby shit on getting to know somebody. That was a huge door opening. I mean, and that's, I love that bit because it's like he's seeing Charlotte, 100% her, fuck the comedy and whatever other stuff's going on. And this was just deeper. And then he starts having this like visions of good things. His 72nd birthday. Charlotte is there for all of them. And then we close with the opening scene. We have the waves coming on the beach. And then we hear him doing his barbecue sauce voiceover.
Mm-hmm.
There's a quick cut to him in the studio, and we're done. And that, ladies and gentlemen,
The
was
hero.
the hero.
Ba-da-da.
Huh? And we got some stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we do.
Well, let's get into this. Let's start with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
What did we got?
So one thing that I think this film did exceptionally well was the rule show, don't tell.
Sure. Yeah.
Because so many of the things that we kind of, discovered in the film were things that we saw and not necessarily bits of like dialogue.
Right.
It was in the characters' expressions. So much of the acting in this film was done with just expressiveness.
Yeah. And
And the scene at the gallery,
right,
is a really good example of that.
Yes.
And his working through his emotions through the lens of the hero,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Which was very poignant because, it's clear that that is how he sees himself.
Right.
And how he wants to see himself.
Yeah.
But his reality hasn't matched up to that version of himself in a long time.
Right. And I want to note there's a lot of brooding.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because the dude just got told, you're checking out.
He can be broody.
Right. And also we get enough information to know that his, career, he hasn't done a whole lot. And it's been a while since he's done anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing commercial voiceovers, selling his voice. Right.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I kind of get it. But I also know that we see a lot of commercials pop up and we know the voices. And these are people who are, Walton.
Oh, Walton Goggins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just call him the W. But, he's all over the fucking place doing commercials.
He is.
And doing voice stuff. And he is by no means at risk of being out of work. You know what I mean?
Right. Not at the moment. No.
Right. So I can see where when someone's 71 years old doing that is where a lot of folks end up, because we know Hollywood has had a long history of fucking people off to the side, women more than men. Like women over the age of 40 were like shunned and put away. Mm-hmm. And, when the leading man gets up to be like 50, he's like, nah, Mr. Hudson, you don't have that rock jawline kind of, you need to move on kind of thing. And then they'd up on like guest appearances on the fucking Love Boat and stuff like that.
Yeah. Hollywood Squares.
Yeah. But we do see a lot of emotion from him.
Yeah.
Like when he's with Nick Offerman and they're just laughing about that fucking the name of the
Platinum Cookies.
Yeah, Platinum Cookie.
Platinum
just
Cookies.
Going off and off. And he does have his moments. I mean, he's not just a pissy, broody man, right? Through the whole thing. So there is a lot of depth to his character, but it's things that we see.
Yeah.
He presents it to us. He doesn't spoon feed it to us with lines and,
yeah,
I'm happy now kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think that is a major lesson of this film, is kind of examining how that's done.
Mm-hmm.
right? What is not said is often more important than what is said.
Right. And this is where the marriage between writing, directing, and acting comes together,
Mm-hmm.
right? You have to be able to write this kind of scene for anyone to do anything with it, right? This isn't like, evening at the improv. So that you give your actor this script, and when they have talent, like Sam Elliott,
Yeah.
they're going to do something with it, and they're going to work that, and most likely do more than what was outlined in the script, you
Mm-hmm.
know, because you don't want a half page of fucking action paragraphs, because that could be like 30 different beats.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this is only 64 pages, dude. You got one half of one page that's like at least 14 different shots, right? And they're all different things. He sits down, he looks at this and does that, and then she comes in and blah blah blah. Think about the message you want to get across, and can you do it MOS, without sound?
Yeah.
Without sound. Um, and then you are 100% dependent on the actor. And this is where I think the director and actor relationship, the director needs to have 100% fucking trust. He needs to be clear at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I want in the frame, right?
Yeah.
Good director will get that out there, understood. And a good actor will take that shit and run with it way past the fucking goal line, which is what he did. I mean, even Offerman, as voicey as he was, you know,
Right.
but the moments he wasn't doing anything, and we've talked about this, acting is not just doing your bit, acting is being present while you're
Mm-hmm.
in frame. And we talked about like John Wayne, I talked about before. Every movie up until the last one he did, he didn't ever know what to do with his fucking hands. He's always moving his fingers. And he got less and less as time got on because people were like, quit moving your fucking fingers, John. Right. But he never looked comfortable. He never looked 100% present in the character.
Yeah.
There's always that little tell that kind of, makes you bam, oh yeah, this is just a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really disappointing. None of that here.
No.
Everybody maximized their screen time, and nobody just like stood by as shit happened. They were part of it. Laura Prepon as
Charlotte.
Charlotte, excuse me. Um, the looking at him, just the watching, the observing him,
Right.
right? And it wasn't just sort of like a little half like grin smiley thing. Got it, cut. You know, you could see things going. You could see the wheels turning. You could see what the character was doing internally,
Yeah.
witnessing this, and everybody did that.
Yeah.
Everybody did that. It was really good.
Yeah.
Um, when we were talking about it after watching it,
Mm-hmm.
you had brought up that there really wasn't much in the way of a plot,
Correct.
right?
Yeah.
And I agreed with you. And I love this movie. I thought it was really good. Had all favorite people in it, and it was super well done. And we'll talk about a little bit of the technical stuff. But this was kind of like a slice of life movie, which is where I live,
Yeah. I know.
and I and that actually was what spurred me earlier today to think about we got to stop fucking making 100 million, $200 million movies,
Oh, I know.
because the craft is getting lost in the bullshit. And people don't need a $65 million paycheck to do a film,
They
right?
don't.
And I mean, they get it, and that's fine. That's just how it works and stuff. And I'm not saying they're phoning it in, because yeah, I mean, some of them are. Well, some of them have been from day one, and how they got as far as they did, I can't begin to fucking guess. But anyway, the whole thing about this is the best, like the slice of life stuff. There's no plot. It is a story, and not every story has a plot as we've come to know it, as like in film. We've heard this in a lot of like things that we watched early on and stuff about,
Mm-hmm.
filmmaking and writing and how to do this and that. And I disagree with a lot of it because some of the best films have broken all those rules,
Yeah.
have done their own things, have been critically acclaimed, have been cult classics, and everything in between, right? Um, the there's just so many things,
Oh, I know.
but the thing I like about this is we still have growth. We have a man going through something, and
Yes.
we're not really sure where it's going, and we're not 100% clear on where he is in his journey,
Right.
right? Because he's closed off to us. And I think the brilliance in the writing is we don't have takeaway scenes where he's doing this big emotional dump,
Right.
like to the dog or something, or some drunken stupor babbling all alone that, fills us in,
Right.
right? And
Well, yeah, I think that right in place of that they have the him as the hero interludes.
right. And that is wonderful because even then we don't get like, he's gone to the top of the mountain and, the Buddhist
Hmm.
priest is, "Woo," all, we don't need it because we had good writing. Uh, the director was fully in charge of what was going on. That much is clear.
Hmm.
And again, we have a cadre of actors who know their shit
Yeah.
and brought it. Like, this is what Academy Awards are supposed to represent and reward and recognize.
Hmm.
It's that whole lifetime achievement thing. Um, so my favorite part of this film was it was just following him over a couple of days.
Yeah. Like a week.
Yeah, because he had the thing. Um, and then, this is happening Sunday. Shit. Okay, so Sunday.
And then to Tuesday.
And then, yeah, he has that whole thing Monday where it's like, hey, you got jobs and offers and
Hmm.
stuff. But tomorrow, Tuesday, you got to come do the thing. And then I like how it all played out. I like how he fell back into who he was, which we get the idea that he was like a lot of actors, right, are not present.
Yeah.
You know, these days more and more are, Cillian Murphy, Tom Hardy. They've made it very clear this job
Is a job.
is just a fucking job. My family comes first, right? And Andrew Lincoln
Hmm.
left Walking Dead because he's like, no, my kids are at an age where it's absolutely critical that they have both their parents present as they finish their growing up. So done.
Yeah.
Because you can't live in England and come here to work for 9 fucking months and
Yeah.
then go back and be like, hey, happy close family. But you got to do what you got to do too,
Yeah.
right? And it's just that whole thing. Everyone has to buy into it, and it's hard. Um, but I get that's what he was doing early on in the career was movies, movies, movies. His career, his things. He wasn't present physically when he was. He wasn't there emotionally,
Right.
right? Um,
Yeah. Lucy, goes into this story while they're talking on the beach
oh
about
yeah,
how, um, they were walking on the beach. She was little, you know, they were holding hands, and she made a comment about,
they're wrinkly.
yeah, his hands are wrinkly and hers are new.
Mm-hmm.
And then he, left to go do a film or something. And she thought for the longest time that he left because she hurt his feelings.
It wasn't to do a film. That's when he left.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time they were together. She spent her childhood thinking she hurt his feelings and he ran away.
Right.
You know, that how do you come back with that?
That's
Or
rough.
on that.
Yeah.
That's rough and 100% legitimate.
Yeah.
And that's what the thing I liked is the tense bits, like the real, like the truth bits, weren't over exaggerated, which a lot of people do. A lot of really good movies we've watched have those moments where I'm like, oh, this is where I'm gonna go get some coffee.
Where it's, them
Because
like yelling and screaming at each other, and it's these big dramatic, you know.
Yeah, this was done so simply, and it wasn't hung on. It didn't take 5 minutes, on
Yeah.
that particular thing. Um, it was just put out there, and it painted the whole picture. And his reactions to it and the way it was written is there was no comeback, which is usually, but I had to, make money and take care of you guys and this and that. I like the no plot. And yeah, people are going to argue, well, the plot is, he's this grumpy old
He's
bitch and
working through his,
is working through his shit.
diagnosis.
But I'm going to go say no. In place of a plot, sometimes it's just a journey,
Yeah.
right? And I think there's an important distinction between those two words. A plot is what gets us to the third act.
Right. A plot is
Okay.
about the destination.
Yeah. And there's all the steps to it, and then the build up and the whole thing, and inciting event and all this stuff. But when I watch my slice of life films, none of that is present. It's just a journey.
Yeah.
And a journey can be as bit and oftentimes more complex um, than chasing a plot.
I think the reason I like slice of life movies is because I don't know if other people do this. You like workout scenes with yourself in the shower. You kind of like pre-prep conversations that never actually go the way you pre-prep them in your head. Or you're in just life, right?
Yeah.
And you're within a moment that you have seen in a film,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There are these moments of like um what's the like awe, you know, or like profound thoughtfulness and stuff like that. And these slice of movies show those moments that like happen on a day-to-day basis
Right.
for people.
Right.
And it's very easy to identify with characters when you get to see that normal, you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Yeah.
those normal moments that they go through.
Um, so yeah, the writing on this was great in my opinion.
Yeah, agree.
Everybody involved did 10 out of 10 and brought everything they got from directing to the camera work, everything. Visually, very pleasant, not chaotic,
No,
right? Um, and I was thinking about the G
it was a very
with,
soft, like, yeah, the G was chaotic and it was harsh.
but
This film was soft.
right. But I was thinking about the transitions.
Oh, yeah, yeah, those were so
This,
clunky.
yeah, this one didn't have any of those,
No.
right? And that's an editing thing
Mhm.
too, and the director, and just everything that goes on with it. Um, yeah, I really liked it. I liked his downward spiral rather than make it manic, right? We step in. He's on the last twist. We know he's on that, like the circular incense,
Yeah,
right? Or those mosquito. Remember those
the
for the
mosquito
the
coils.
drive-ins? Yeah, he's on that last bend,
Mhm.
and we're here on that journey. As he's finishing that bend, this big thing happens that should put him away,
Yeah.
should have him shut down, and he was teetering on that,
Mhm.
but then had enough sense to recognize the things happening are good things.
Right.
And in this very short period, in 72 hours, went from fuck to hold on, maybe, just maybe, it would be worth waking up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that. I love that. Visually fantastic,
Oh,
soothing,
yeah. The
calm.
visuals of this were wonderful.
There was actually not a lot of screaming,
No.
yelling, like with he and Charlotte. It's very tense,
Mhm.
but that was one thing. One, so the casting,
Yeah.
excuse me. I had mentioned last night that they brilliant job in picking Laura Prepon for that part. because when she walked in, what makes her really good in these kinds of things is she's weird. We talked about,
Yeah.
but not a bad weird, right?
Yeah.
She is one full step to the side of like the norm in Hollywood,
Right.
right? And that gives her an edge. And what makes the edge work is it's not an affectation. It's not, I'm presenting this. It's her. She's genuine. Doesn't fucking care about the line or how far away she is from it. She loves what she does
Hmm.
and she's going to do it. This is what you get. So when she walked on screen, she brought that to the character, and the character was designed to be, this is,
Yeah.
I don't apologize for shit. This is, I am who I am, and that confidence.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is what triggered him, to pay attention.
Hmm.
And, I loved it, you tell a lot about looking at people. Just, oh, yeah, well, you learn about me. Not a goddamn
Uh-huh.
thing. Oh, man. Which, too, non-technical aspect, but sitting for almost 2 hours listening to Sam Elliott talk
Oh,
is by far not the worst thing that you could do
it isn't.
on a weeknight. I- you know, it's if you like him doing anything while he's doing a barbecue commercial.
Oh, yeah. That's a good barbecue
Hell
commercial.
yeah, I'd listen to that album.
Yeah. You know why they keep telling him do it again? They just want to hear him.
Yeah.
They're not even
Oh
recording anymore.
no. Sound is brilliant, as you would expect.
Hmm.
No low
Lighting and
points.
color was really good. Editing was good. Music was very good.
Yeah.
I mean, I've got no dings for this.
Not really. No, no. In fact, my only criticism about Project Hail Mary wasn't the movie itself, but it was the theater sound system.
Oh, yeah.
There were a couple moments in that movie I had no fucking clue what was being said because what was supposed to be the ambient sound was so loud.
Yeah.
And the primary speakers where the voice should be coming from were way underpowered.
I know. I think we should buy it and watch it again.
And we're gonna buy it. That's funny too. So wait, so
it just came out on streaming.
Yeah. Now,
For
folks,
purchase, not like
right, to purchase digitally. But so, most listeners will know, by now, we live far from Madison. It's an hour drive. And there's not, much in the way of anything to do in the middle of nowhere. So to go see a movie is kind of a haul.
a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. And plus it was the movie prices and actually the concessions cost more than twice what the movie tickets cost.
Yeah.
Because we've got the matinee price and for some reason they knocked them down a little bit. But yeah, that's fucking popcorns and sodas and
I know, and that very nice girl at the concessions counter.
Oh,
I won't say where we went because I don't want to get her in trouble, but she gave us the refill.
Well, she's like, yeah, well, if you want to save some money, since this tub comes with the refill, what I can do is I can give you the refill now, and then you don't have to come back during the movie. And then that will mean you don't have to buy another popcorn.
Right.
So,
and we were like, sold.
Yeah. So, yeah. Makes your heart warm that there's still people like that out there.
Hell yeah.
So anyway, all of this, and it was worth it. It wasn't like a big thing. We, picked up dinner from our favorite Chinese restaurant, brought it all the way home, and it was still warm. Had a good dinner. It was a good day.
That's because they serve it screaming hot.
They do.
I love that place so much.
I know. But it was an excellent Mother's Day. And nothing to go on about. But yeah, that sound bit. So anyway, this morning we flip on the TV and watch something before work, and there it is, Project Hail Mary now available. And she's like, "What? Did that say Project Hail Mary?
Now
available?" So I brought it up, like, "Oh, you can rent it or buy it." She's like, "What?
Son of a bitch!"
Yes, it wasn't. It just became available. But I think you would have not been as satisfied with it. I think
I suppose.
the experience on the big screen,
Yeah.
Kicked back in a nice recliner, without fucking cats running around or locked up and
Yeah.
doing their shit in their little kennel thing. But anyway, yeah, the sound is important.
It is.
And theaters, they're like the last step. Remember we were talking about editing on how a distributor can like hack up your shit and you got no control over it.
Yeah.
You can master the sound. You can have something that is so perfect that the gods themselves weep at what you've created, and you stick it in a theater who doesn't know how to work the equalizer.
Right.
And people like me walk out like, what in the fuck was
I
going
know
on
that
there?
the kid working the sound at the theater is like, bass? People love bass.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's no bass in this movie, really.
I know.
So anyway, The Hero is a fantastic example. Yes, it's a way higher budget than most indie films, but it is a modest budget for B movies. 1.2 million is still not a lot for a B movie. We were talking about Bubba Hotep was 1 million.
Right.
And almost 500,000 for an Elvis song, which is why there's none in there. It's just wild.
It is.
What you can do. But we've also talked about how people who don't have 1.2 million, they have 1.2 thousand.
If that.
And they still deliver something that can go head to head with this film and others like it in terms of quality across the board in everything, right? I saw an interesting thing, and I wasn't sure where it was going, but it was this person who's somewhere to do in Hollywood. And, I get asked the question, how many films does it take before you're considered a filmmaker? And, and then she goes on, people are going to really disagree with this, but one, if you make a film,
you're a filmmaker.
Well, if you make it and you show it to somebody, even one more person, you're a filmmaker.
Yeah.
Because if you do something and no one sees it or doesn't, then, you can't claim it. And I agree with that.
I agree.
Right. I agree with that. I'm a writer. What have you written? Well, it's all up in my head. You're
nothing yet.
You're a dreamer.
Right.
And I dig it, but you're not a writer.
Right.
You got to write it first. I just, listeners, remember that. If you're just starting out, make whatever it is, fuck it. Fuck the quality. Don't worry about good or bad. Make it, because you know what? That's your learning. That's your first learning foundation. Watch it. Everything that you hate about it, everything that you're like, oh, that sucked, or oh, this and that. Okay. What can you do next time?
What can you learn?
Yeah, to fix that issue. Is it going to take money? Is it going to take like talent? Like editing, we've talked about. There are people who know how to edit.
I mean,
properly.
That's the thing. Like, making your first film is going to be a crucible.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And you might not be happy with what comes out. You might be delighted. Who knows? But what matters is making it. Because in the making of it, you will learn so much.
Yeah. So another thing I saw. So I've talked about the guy that movie Dun 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 It.
Oh yeah.
Right. And he's been on Instagram. They finished principal photography the last 2 months. Every weekend they've been shooting. And now he's doing all the post yet. And he did a behind the scenes thing, and someone had written into him, why would you even bother with that nonsense? I mean, if it's a two-sided conversation, you just shoot over the shoulder and you cut. And he's like, yeah, that's in the book.
That's one way.
That's what they teach you. But what he did is he had somebody who was filming over the shoulder and then quickly move to the side and then keep on the one person and then quick shift as they're still moving to the other guy and then zoom in a little bit for the response. It actually looks nice. And he said, if you're going to do everything that's in the book, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to be you? You should know how to do the things that are in the book, because that will let you know how you can be you outside of the book.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that. I really like that. And he goes on to explain, and I agree with it. A lot of people do fancy camera shots and stuff, but they don't serve the story.
Right.
He's like, I did think about doing it over the shoulder, but this scene for the tension and then the subsequent cut scene to for the comedic bit that worked. He's like, that is what I landed on, and we did it, and like, well, it worked. You'll see it when the movie comes out. Um, See things like this, gauge what you have done or are doing, and just remember, if this is your first movie, your second, your third, whatever, the next movie is where you apply what you learned from this movie,
Yeah.
this experience, and so on and so on and so on. And in a very technical age, all of the greats, I'll just, everyone who's out there from indie to A level, um, they're learning the technology is constantly changing. It's important in filmmaking. You used to develop film. Now you need to know how to store it and keep it safe and process it.
Mm-hmm.
And people know how to, work compression and frame rates and stuff and syncing and all this shit. And it's always changing. So you do have to keep up on stuff. But you don't have to settle, right? Um, Keep learning, experiment. Someone like we might look at something like, God, that was a terrible fucking scene. Camera work was awful. And it might be your film, and you'd be thinking, shit, I thought that was brilliant. What's going on? So you get some other people who aren't close to you,
Right.
have them take a look and say, give me your thoughts on this and work with it, right?
Yeah.
Because working within the box is essentially what you have to do while you're fucking practicing, while you're learning to make shit work. And then that box is just for the skill set. The rest of it is your creativity. The one thing nobody can teach you or take from you or do anything to you about.
What's in you? What do
Yeah.
you see?
Yeah. How do you move from one person to another in a two-sided conversation scene? How do you present sadness? How do you make, someone laugh? How do you do that visually? Leave it to the writers to figure out the words and stuff. But as a filmmaker, your first focus should be on everything screen.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it's a beautiful
What's in the frame?
vista. Okay, but how's it going to look in the frame?
Mm-hmm.
Because a beautiful vista is a beautiful vista. But if you don't do it right in the frame, you're not going to capture what you originally saw, kind of thing. So, yeah, use this film to look at and enjoy it. Obviously, hopefully,
Oh yeah.
um, but uh, yeah, this is another solid example of yes, money can make a difference in terms of like
And
equipment quality
acting.
and stuff. And
Wonderful actors.
yeah, and they weren't getting their rates
No.
for this because 1.2 million, shit, that wouldn't pay one of them. Those four actors are high end,
Yeah.
right? And we encourage people to see B movies and indie films like this with these top name people because these are folks who are so into their craft and
You
shit.
know they're doing it because they want to do it.
They're doing it because they believe in what's been given to them.
Mm-hmm.
Each one of them was handed this script, they read it, and they're like, fuck yeah, I'm in.
Right.
Right. And it's not $25 million paycheck.
It's for the art. It's not for the paycheck.
Yeah, because it's who they are. It's
Mm-hmm.
what they do. And we've talked about it. A writer writes, a director directs. Creatives create. That's what it is. So whatever your slant is on that.
Storytellers tell stories.
Yeah, embrace it. And this also, I mean, we're very centric about directors and actors and stuff, but this is everybody on the set.
Yeah.
Everybody having anything to do with it because you are creating the physical nature of this broader world or whatever for this film. You're creating. You're making daylight at night. You're making night during the daytime. You're making a log cabin in the corner of a fucking aluminum sided studio.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Create. Because that's what it's about. And I think that's really, I mean, we could just go on about the same stuff.
I do have one thing to say. You should check out our website.
lordsofmisruleproductions.com.
Everything's on there. All of our previous episodes, links to our socials, links to our YouTube channels and email
Yeah.
address. And you know what? Everything's on there. Go check it out.
Check it out. And we talked about this. I don't know if I can't remember if I mentioned it, but I know we've talked about it. BF McGillicuddy, who's on the website and our YouTube channel. I don't think BF is coming back to Earth. We were talking about it, and I think I've made the decision that what's out there is going to stay what's out there. The way the world is right now, it's very difficult to pretend to be an alien who's trying to find weird shit about Earth, like the Japanese Penis Festival and stupid laws in different countries and stuff like that. And I've been wanting to do it, but I can't get my heart revved up enough because it's like I just can't do it, the banality of it.
Yeah.
Even though some people find it entertaining. I know a few do anyway. Get the numbers to prove it. So yeah, BF is, I think, going to be retired. So when I get out of this mental funk of the world, which we all know what needs to happen. But anyway, we'll come up with something else.
Yeah.
Something else. Because it's hard to have fun pretending none of that shit exists.
Meanwhile,
anyway.
we've got other stuff we're working on. We got, friends we're working with and stuff we're working on. And
we'll share updates with that. With our script consulting gig. We said that has moved on to shooting scripts. So I'm pretty sure we'll get some like updates on where they are in the process, and we'll share that because we want you to see what they're doing.
Indeed.
We want you to see what all of our friends are doing.
Yeah.
And you know what? When you go to the website, links to the YouTube channels and Patreon, go to both.
Yeah.
We'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe to Patreon.
Right.
But
Become
also,
a patron.
Become a subscriber to the YouTube channel. Yeah. The podcast, like, subscribe, share, rate, review, all that stuff. But also check out the people that we have listed on our channels and give them a gander.
Indeed.
And subscribe to them, right?
Yeah.
And let's keep the train going. Show the love. Share the love.
Be the love.
Be the love. That's a movie.
Be the love.
We'll have to sort out how, but that's
all
a
right.
movie.
All right. Sweet.
Okay, B-siders.
Until next time.
Keep doing what you're doing.
We
do
love
it
you.
Well. Yes, we do.
This is Danny.
And this is Jim.
Catch you later.
Bye.